I want to start my discussion with a mural painting by Diego Rivera. Hombre en la Encrucijada, or Man at Crossroads, also called Man Controller of the Universe, was commissioned by the Rockefeller Center at 1932. The mural was heavily criticized by the media, and then the Rockefellers took it down, and then they were criticized even more. Rivera then recreated the mural for the Mexico's Palace of Fine Arts in 1934, a few years before Artaud's travel to Mexico.
Palace of Fine Arts in Mexico City, surrounded by enormous murals by some of the most important mural painters in Mexico.
We can see a machine worker and a telescope at the center. To the left of him, the Red Army, Marx, Engels, Trotsky, Lenin, and what I believe to be Russian gymnasts in swimsuits. In his right, a plagued army going to war, Charles Darwin surrounded by monkeys, policemen repressing protests, and gamblers. From the hands of the worker, we see glimpses of the galaxies and of microscopic life. Most importantly, Diego tells us that the statue in the left side is a beheaded Caesar, and that the figure wearing a rosary on the right is an enraged Jupiter. Diego gained status and international projection as a painter of the Mexican Revolution, and we can see that he pictures Mexican Revolution in this mural as an idol killer. It is as if true power was always human, as if Jupiter's powers were Caesar's, and hence beheadable. The worldview that is suggested by this mural could be extremely frustrating for someone like Artaud, who was looking for a civilization that was purposed by vital forces, and that had a vision of a revolution in which they could be liberated. Artaud discusses Rivera's work in an article on Monasterio. There is an embryo of personality in Rivera's frescoes. Excuse me, but this embryo is still weak. On the other hand, Rivera worked in Paris, and this does not fail to be seen. We are far from the mighty solar fulguration of original Mexican art. Furthermore, Rivera is a materialist, and this too shows when you do not have a sense of a transcendent force in the art of painting, as in any art. This is noticed by a kind of block of inspiration, by an inner opacity of the forms. I want to discuss the work of Brazilian actor and director Amir Haddad. Amir Haddad clearly shares some of Artaud's concerns, but envision a different creative route. Amir also has qualms with modern theater, which he came to call Protestant theater, after an epiphany that he had in the International Theater Prize of Cairo.
Nessa caminhada, eu fui visitar a mesquita de Muhammad Ali, que é uma mesquita do século IX. Meu Deus, que coisa linda! Eu já estava identificado com aquele mundo. Aí comecei a lembrar de outras igrejas, comecei a lembrar das igrejas do Aleijadinho, da minha formação católica. Começou a vir o barroco brasileiro, o ouro das igrejas, o esplendor das igrejas. Aí eu resolvi ir mais longe, comecei a lembrar dos terrenos de candomblé, do ritual, da dança e tudo. Aí eu falei, caralho, o teatro que eu faço
Isso é teatro,
não tem
né?
nada a ver com isso é puro teatro. E o teatro que eu faço é o realismo da igreja protestante. É a sala reta, nenhuma cor, nem nada, uma caixa e ali a palavra. Pá, pá, pá. Então eu falei, não é isso, não faço o que eu quero fazer. Não quero mais fazer teatro protestante.
What followed was a reinvention of Amir's work, and he is known today in Brazil as a proponent of street theater.
Ordem e progresso, ordem a bandeira nacional. Não é jornal nacional, não, bandeira nacional. Ela vem escrita no meio dela, ordem e progresso. Aliás, é...
O tigre, vocês estão vendo ali do lado, ele está na rua há milênios. Desde na história do teatro ocidental, desde os gregos, desde Tespes, a carroça de Tespes, passando pelos atores romanos, passando pelos atores da Idade Média, pelos saltimbancos, pelos menestréis, por todos os poetas e loucos que andaram pelas ruas na Idade Média, passando pelos atores da comédia italiana, da comédia dell'arte. O teatro sempre esteve na rua, chegando hoje aos nossos camelôs. Então a gente tem sempre vivo a história do teatro o tempo todo ao nosso lado. É só ter olhos para ver. O caçador primitivo, que botava a roupa do urso para ir caçar, já estava inventando o teatro. O cheiro da pele atraiu o animal, mas o caçador acreditava na força da sua representação. Depois, o mistério desaparece, mas a crença no jogo continua. Assim como em qualquer outro ritual, que nós ocidentais avançados costumamos chamar de primitivos. Como os pajés, os feiticeiros das tribos antigas, médicos, atores, padres e psicanalistas desses povos.
It is as if, by understanding that we distance ourselves from rituals, that Amir has come to terms with the fact that theater is dead and we killed it.
Eu não quero teatro na minha vida! Eu não quero teatro na minha vida! Eu quero vida no meu teatro!
In Man Against Fate, Artaud claims that anyone who affirms that there are different cultures in Mexico, that there are the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Toltecs, does not really know what culture is. He goes even further and says that the same culture is present in the Chinese medicine, the Zohar, and in Muslim esotericism. Theater and its doubles. Artaud also discusses the similarities between the alchemical operation and theater. He says that alchemy is a way of operating in the world, trying to produce physical change, and that theater in its origins was the same thing. Artaud will also deal with the deranged acts that follow plague as theater. I think that Artaud envisioned a reunion between mind and matter, between symbol and act, and that he envisioned both his theater and the Mexican Revolution possibly in that way. I also think that Artaud was bound to get frustrated. I kept thinking about the ambiguity of Brazilian left towards native people when I was reading about the ambiguity of the Mexican Revolution towards native people, and I feel like it's unavoidable frustration.